What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. Today I'll be taking an early deep live look into the 2025 Chili Bowl Nationals entrants. I'm going to talk about some of the big notable names that will be competing in the 2025 Chili Bowls. Around 400 drivers will be competing in this year's Chili Bowl Nationals. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start by talking about Sammy Swindell. Sammy Swindell will drive the number 1 for Swindell Motorsports this year. Sammy Swindell, I believe, is the winningest driver in Chili Bowl Nationals history with 5 Chili Bowl Nationals wins. And Sammy Swindell is one of the greatest sprint car racers in history. Sammy Swindell, around the age of 7 years old, continues to be one of the best drivers out there. Will be looking to compete in another A-main event. I think he has a really great chance and a really strong opportunity to make the main in 2025. It looks to win his 6th ever Chili Bowl Nationals in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson will drive the number 1K for Paul Silva Motorsports. Kyle Larson currently at the moment is competing in the Tulsa Shootout, 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Just won most recently the high limit race at Perth and is coming back to the Chili Bowl for the next year in a row as he is looking to win his 3rd Chili Bowl Nationals and win his first one, I believe, since 2021 or 2022. Kyle Larson is one of the favorites going into this year's Chili Bowl Nationals, especially with how good he's been in sprint cars. We know Kyle Larson is one of the best in the Chili Bowl, and he'll be looking to win his 3rd ever Chili Bowl Nationals in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Spencer Bason. Spencer Bason will drive the 1S car in 2025. Spencer Bason has made the Chili Bowl Nationals A-main many times. He's won a lot of USAC races over the years. And Spencer Bason, someone who could be a favorite to go out and not just win the race overall, but could go out there and have a chance and opportunity to win the pole. He'll be one of the favorites on his qualifier night to make the main event. I'm looking for Spencer Bason to be one of the drivers to watch out for in this year's Chili Bowl. Up next, we're going to talk about Tanner Berryhill. Tanner Berryhill will drive the number 2B. Tanner Berryhill was formerly a NASCAR driver back in the mid-2010s, has put a lot of his focus on USAC racing and midget racing over the course of the last few years. He's had some decent success, so I'm not really expecting him to run great. He hasn't really ever advanced too high up on the Chili Bowl Nationals before. I think he could have a chance maybe get to the D-main or the E-main this year, but I think it's going to be hard for him to get farther than that in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Nick Hoffman. Nick Hoffman, who will drive the 2H car. Nick Hoffman has competed in the Chili Bowl Nationals before back in 2024. And Nick Hoffman's been winning a lot of sprint car races and also been winning a lot of late model races as well. I think he's a champion in late models in some series. Nick Hoffman is one to watch out for because it's kind of unknown how he's really going to do, especially with the competition that is showing up this year. But I think Nick does have a chance and opportunity in his potential second time around to be a major threat in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about JJ Yeley. JJ Yeley, he will drive the 3J car. JJ Yeley is one of the most successful USAC midget drivers ever. He's been very successful at these tracks, and he's also, I believe, made the A-main many times in the Chili Bowl. He will also compete in the Daytona 500 in 2025 with NY Racing around the age of 49 years old. I think JJ's got a decent chance and opportunity to be up front and be competitive, but it's pretty awesome to see that JJ Yeley will be back running the Chili Bowl once again in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Todd Cleaver. Todd Cleaver, who will drive the 3K machine. Todd Cleaver, for those who do not know, has a course win and was a development driver for Roush when their development program they had back in the mid-2000s. He also won some truck races as well in the mid-2000s, but unfortunately had his career kind of come to a close around the late 2000s after 2007 ended. Todd Cleaver since then has been competing in the midgets and has been doing all right, in my opinion, in those series, but I'm not expecting him to be a major threat in series contender, but glad to see he'll be racing in some midget races, including the Chili Bowl. Up next, we're going to talk about Cody Swanson. Cody Swanson will drive the 4P car in 2025. Cody Swanson is an 8-time USAC midget champion and of course has competed in the Chili Bowl many times before. He will be someone that I think could be definitely one to watch out for. I think he is a sleeper pick in this year's Chili Bowl as he's looking to advance really high this year. I could see him being a sleeper pick to get to the A-main this year in 2025. He'll look to run really strong with the 4P team in 2025 once again. Up next, we're going to talk about Jason McDougall. Jason McDougall will drive the 7P machine. Jason McDougall, for those who do not know, has been a driver that's been known for trying to complete the alphabet soup. I think it was back in 2021 or 2022 where Jason McDougall had a really good chance to get all the way up to the top. I think he started back in like the G or H main and got all the way to around the D or C main. McDougall's one that I think could be an underrated pick to get all the way up to the top ranks. I think he made it to the B main a couple of years ago. We'll see what Jason McDougall can do in that car this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Brad Sweet. Brad Sweet, who will drive the 17th car. Brad Sweet has not competed in the Chili Bowl Nationals in the last couple of years, as of course he's been fully focused on the High Limit Racing Series over the last few years. Brad Sweet has, of course, competed in the Chili Bowl Nationals in many, many years, and Brad Sweet is definitely someone to watch out for that I think is a favorite to get into the A main and could honestly be an outside favorite to win the overall event this year. I think he's going to be a major threat this time around. He's going to be doing really good things with the 7 RMS organization, and I do expect that Brad Sweet will be one driver to watch out for in the 2025 Chili Bowl Nationals. We'll see how he ends up doing this year with that team. Up next, we're going to talk about Jonathan Bason. Jonathan Bason will drive the number 8J machine this year. Jonathan Bason has been one of the drivers who I kind of don't talk about as much on this channel, but Jonathan Bason is someone who I feel it could be one to watch out for to get pretty far. He has made, of course, the A main, I believe, multiple different times. I think last year he got to the C or D main and had some decent success in 2024 in the Chili Bowl. He's going to have some hard work to have a chance to win the overall event this year, but I think Bason will be someone to keep your eyes out on definitely in 2025 to get really far this time around. Up next, we're going to talk about Clinton Boyles. Clinton Boyles will drive the 11B machine. If you've been watching the Tulsa shootout this year, Clinton Boyles has been tearing it up. I think he's won 4 or 5 out of the 5 heat races that he has entered and has been extremely impressive and one of the favorites to get it done at the Tulsa shootout, which is probably going to be concluded by the time you're watching this. He's going to be someone that I think could be an underdog this time around, especially with the equipment that he is going to be in. If you've got a lot of talent, you can be pretty competitive. So we'll see how Clinton Boyles can do, but I'm excited to see what he can do in the Chili Bowl Nationals in the 2025 year. Up next, we're going to talk about Katherine Lake. Katherine Lake will make her Chili Bowls Nationals debut driving a number 12 car. Katherine Lake is the fastest qualifier in the Indianapolis 500 for a woman driver, and she, of course, has won some races in IMSA and has, I believe, won some championships in IMSA as well. Katherine will be driving on the same team with Santino Fuchi and Kaylee Bryson, and I do think that Katherine Lake, I don't expect her to be a major threat this time around to be a major contender, but pretty cool that she will be competing in the Chili Bowl Nationals in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Gordy Gundaker. Gordy Gundaker will drive the 14S machine. I believe he is a rookie this time around, as he has, of course, been competing in the Gateway Dirt Nationals on the sprint car side, and I think he's won some pretty big races. He's kind of like a local boy to me, as I think he's from the St. Louis area. Gordy Gundaker will be one I'm very intrigued to see how he's going to do, and we'll see if Gordy can have a lot of success in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Santino Fuchi. Santino Fuchi will drive the number 16 car. Santino Fuchi is someone, in my opinion, that's pretty underrated in the IndyCar side. Sure, he's been very, very controversial, but Santino Fuchi is a talented driver. You cannot deny that. And I think Santino will probably get all the way up to the C or maybe even the B main this year. I don't realistically think that Santino is going to get all the way up to the A main, but I think the B and C main is definitely very likely in 2025. We'll see if he can get up there in the 2025 Chili Bowl with the team. Up next, we're going to talk about Shane Golobic. Shane Golobic will drive the 17W machine. Now, Shane Golobic has made a NASCAR Cup Series start back in 2021 and has made the Chili Bowl Nationals A main multiple different times, including, I believe, last year, and I think he finished inside the top 5. Shane is an underdog to win it this time around. I think there's a very likely chance he could make the Chili Bowl main this year. Shane's one of the best dirt racers in the country. At around the age of 35 or 36, I believe, he looks to be very competitive and make the A main in 2025 with the number 17W. Up next, we're going to talk about Thorne Jr. Thorne Jr. will drive the number 19R machine. He'll drive a thing for the RMS organization as well. I believe this will be him being a rookie this year, if I'm not mistaken, so he's going to be having his first attempt at trying to make the main and do really good this time around. Ricky's been tearing it up in the modifieds. He's been tearing it up on sprint cars. Is one of the best dirt racers in this country. I think that Ricky Thorne could be a sleeper pick to get into the main event. I think he's going to be pretty fast. I think, especially with how quick he's been in other series, I think Ricky does have a solid chance and opportunity. We'll see what he can do. It's a fantastic opportunity to work with this team in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Mitchell Moles. Mitchell Moles will drive the number 19 Team Machine. Mitchell Moles has made the Chili Bowl A-Main multiple different times, including, I believe, last year in 2024, and I think he's only around 24 or 25 years old. He is competing full-time, I believe, in USAC, also in the 2025 calendar year. I think Mitchell Moles could be a sleeper to get to the A-Main this year. I think he's got a chance to get a top 10 finish if he can make it in, but I think it's very realistic that Mitchell Moles will definitely have a really good chance and strong opportunity to compete and get into the A-Main this year in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Darren Pitman. Darren Pitman will drive the number 21 machine. Darren Pitman is one of the most successful World of Outlaws drivers in history. He won the championship in 2003, beating the likes of Steve Kinzer and Donnie Schatz at the time, and also is an 86-time winner in the World of Outlaws. Darren Pitman, I don't expect him to be a major threat to get to the A-Main this year, but I think him getting to the C or D-Main is very, very realistic. I think he'll be pretty competitive, and I think that Darren Pitman will show some pretty good pace and speed in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Brady Bacon. Brady Bacon will drive the 21H machine. Brady Bacon has been competing in the world of USAC, and he's been competing in a lot of major USAC events across the country. I think he's won some USAC championships as well, and I think that Brady Bacon will definitely be someone to watch out for to get pretty far this year. I think most likely C or D main is the most likely possibility of where he ends up, but I think Brady will definitely be one to watch out for this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Tyler Courtney. Tyler Courtney will drive the 23C machine. Sunshine, Tyler Courtney has made the A-Main multiple different times, including in 2024, where I believe finished inside the top 10. And I think he's been very close to winning the Chili Bowl Nationals as well. I think Courtney will be pretty competitive. I think he's very likely to make the A-Main. I think top 10 is very reasonable this time around. I look for him to be a threat this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Taylor Rmer. Taylor Rmer, who will drive the 25K machine. Taylor Rmer is currently under development contract with Toyota at this moment. She did race some ARCA races in 2024, including at the Springfield or Ducoin Mile, and she ended up actually finishing inside the top 5 in that event, finishing runner-up or in 3rd place. Rmer, I think she does have a decent chance to run really well. I don't think she will make the A-Main, but I think it's realistic that she could get very far this time around, especially working really closely with Toyota. I can see Taylor Rmer being one to keep your eyes out on for later this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Colby Copeland. Colby Copeland will drive the 27W machine. Colby Copeland has made the A-Main multiple different times in the Chili Bowl. He's also won a lot of USAC races across this country that you've probably seen on Flow Racing. And Colby Copeland has definitely shown a lot of promise over the years, as I think he will be someone that could have a chance to definitely get to the A-Main. I don't realistically see him getting to the B-Main this year, not to the A-Main, but I think there's a chance he definitely gets to the B-Main. I don't think he'll get to the A-Main, but we'll see what he can do in the Chili Bowl Nationals this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Hank Davis. Hank Davis will drive the number 29S machine. Hank Davis was a standout star in 2024. He qualified inside the top 5 and qualified for the pole shootout and almost had a chance and opportunity to win the Chili Bowl Nationals last year, I believe finishing inside of the top 5 or 6. Hank Davis is going to be a sleeper pick to win the overall event, but I think he has a really good chance and opportunity. Working with a team that he is definitely going to work for, I look for Hank Davis to be one on the radar of a lot of people in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Logan Circe. Logan Circe, who back behind the wheel of the number 39 machine. Logan Circe is coming in as the defending winner from 2024. Logan is going to be one of the favorites to win the Chili Bowl Nationals in 2025. I think it's very realistic that he could go out there and win it this year and get his second straight Chili Bowls Nationals win. He's been very successful in USAC, shown a lot of great promise in the Chili Bowl over the years. I think he's one of the best dirt car drivers out there, and I think he'll be definitely one to keep your eyes out on for the Chili Bowl in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Josh Blinky. Josh Blinky will drive the 40B car. Josh Blinky does a lot of USAC racing, or does some midget racing, of course. We all know him for his road course prowess and also know him for racing in NASCAR. We don't know his plans currently at the moment for 2025. Some have suggested Sam Hunt Racing, even though I think it's going to be Dean Thompson in that car. But I think Josh Blinky could be pretty competitive for sure as well. We'll see what he can do in the 40B machine, but he probably won't make it far this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Corey Day. Corey Day will drive the number 41 car this year. Corey Day, I think, is one of the favorites to get into the A main, and I think it's very likely he could be a threat to win it. He is one of the best young dirt racers out there. He has a big on-track activity to potentially get to NASCAR down the road. There's rumors of him going to Xfinity in 2025 full-time. I think Corey Day has a really good track path to go to NASCAR, but we know he's been winning races in high limit. He's won some big USAC races. He's won a ton of World of Outlaws events over the last couple years. He'll be one that could definitely get into the main of the Chili Bowl in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch will drive the 51K machine for Kyle Busch's team. Kyle Busch will make his Chili Bowl Nationals debut in 2025. Kyle Busch, I think, is probably one of the more intriguing drivers to watch because Kyle Busch has never raced in the Chili Bowl Nationals before. But Kyle Busch figures things out really, really quickly. It would not surprise me if Kyle Busch gets all the way to the A main this year. Realistically, I think he either gets to the B or C main at the height, but I think A main is definitely not out of the realm. If he could figure it out throughout the qualifiers, I think he will have a chance to get it done. If he wins the A main night, one of the nights he's competing in, I think he will have a very good chance of getting into the main event this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Blake Hahn. Blake Hahn will drive the number 52, I believe, for Alex Bowman Racing. Blake Hahn has competed for Alex Bowman's team in the series, in the midgets, and also I think has won some races in USAC as well, and has ran the Chili Bowl and has made the A main multiple different times as well. I think Blake Hahn will be a sleeper pick to get to the main. I think the B or C main is very likely a possibility too, where he ends up, maybe the D main, who knows, but Blake Hahn is back to get a chance and opportunity to win his first ever Chili Bowl Nationals this year. Up next, we're going to talk about Jake Swanson. Jake Swanson will drive the number 55A machine for Alex Bowman Racing. Jake Swanson has won a lot of USAC races across the country. He's won some pretty big midget races as well. And Jake Swanson, I think, has competed for some championships and has also made the A main multiple different times in the Chili Bowl Nationals as well. He does have a chance and opportunity, and I think he could be very competitive this year to get in the Chili Bowl main in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Nick Drake. Nick Drake will drive the number 55D machine. Now, Nick Drake is a name for those who have been around in NASCAR for a long time will be familiar with. Nick Drake was a development driver, I believe, for Junior Motorsports, and I believe for Stewart-Haas Racing at the time as well, before that contract went up in smoke. Nick Drake, since then, has been competing for organizations in the midget scene. We're probably never going to see him back in NASCAR, but I think it's cool to see that Nick Drake is back to run another Chili Bowl in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about CJ Larry. CJ Larry will drive the number 55V machine in 2025 for Alex Bowman Racing. CJ Larry's also been competing in USAC for many years. He's made the A-main, I believe, multiple different times for Alex Bowman's organization. With the stellar competition, I'm not exactly quite sure he is going to get to the A-main, but I think that CJ Larry, if the equipment's good enough, I could see him doing solid with this organization, with the team, in 2025. Up next, we're going to talk about Kaylee Bryson. Kaylee Bryson will drive the number 57 car. Kaylee Bryson has competed in the Chili Bowl Nationals for many, many years. She has been transitioning over to Trans Am. She's actually won a couple of Trans Am races in 2024, and she's kind of going toward that stock car route at this point and going over to that Trans Am route, as I think she does have some ambitions to maybe get down the road into NASCAR. I think she'd be a sleeper pick to get in the A-main this year. I think B or C are the most likely options for her, but it would be a pretty incredible and amazing accomplishment if she can get to the A-main in 2025. We'll see how she ends up doing. We'll see if she can make the A-main with the team she's driving for in 2025. Up next, we'll talk about Ryan Timms. Ryan Timms will drive the number 67 machine. Ryan Timms has been a driver who's been super aggressive, super young, but super talented at the same time. I think Ryan Timms could be a sleeper, very young. I think he's working with Todd and the Keith Coons team really closely. I look for Ryan Timms to be someone to watch out for that could definitely be a sleeper pick to maybe get into the main event this year in 2025 with the team. Up next, we're talking about Emerson Axam. Emerson Axam, who will drive the 68K machine. Emerson is just 20 years old, but he's been tearing it up in the lower ranks. He's been tearing it up in the World of Outlaws. I think he's won a couple World of Outlaws events. He's been tearing it up in midget racing as well over the last couple years at just the young age of 20 years old. Many are propelling him as the next big thing in USAC, and I think he'll be definitely one to watch out for over the years as he will compete for this organization in 2025 at the Chili Bowl. Up next, we're going to talk about the 71. This will be driven by Michael Buddy Kofo. Now, Buddy Kofo is one of the best talents we've seen in dirt in many, many years. The guy was actually on a track at one point going over to stock car racing, but that never really ever worked out and went back to USAC and basically the World of Outlaws as well, and he's had quite a bit of success actually over the years. Buddy Kofo will be one to watch out for to get into the main event. I think it's very likely he will get in this year. I think he will have the pace and speed to definitely get it done. I think he will have a great chance to make the A-main in 2025. Up next, we're talking about Canon McIntosh. Canon McIntosh will drive the number 71K machine for Keith Coons Motorsports. Canon McIntosh is probably a favorite to make the A-main. I think he's also a favorite to go out and win his qualifiers. I think he will be a major threat to definitely do that this time around. I think he will definitely have the pace and speed, definitely for sure. And it would not surprise you or shock me if he goes out and wins the qualifier night and goes for the pole in 2025 at this year's Chili Bowl Nationals. Up next, we're talking about Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz will drive the 71M machine. Brent Cruz is pretty much doing everything at this point. He's racing in sprint cars. He's racing in Trans Am and having a lot of success. He's going to run some ARCA races this year. And he's also going to make some truck starts, for what I understand, in 2025. Brent is an interesting case. I'm not quite sure he is a major threat to go out there and contend for the win of this event, but I can see Brent Cruz having quite a bit of success this year. I could see him being a major threat, and I think he could be definitely one to watch out for this year in the Chili Bowl Nationals. Up next, we're talking about Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell will drive the 71W machine, I believe, for Chad Boat Industries or for Keith Coons Motorsports. Christopher Bell is back in the Chili Bowl for the first time, I believe, since 2021 or 2022. And the last time Christopher Bell competed, I believe he went to Victory Lane, as I think he went 3 years in a row of winning the Chili Bowl. I think Christopher Bell is one of the favorites to win. I think he will be in the A-main for sure. I think he will qualify up front definitely, and I think he'll be one of the biggest threats to go out there and win this year's Chili Bowl. I think it's between him and Kyle Larson right now on who are the favorites to win it. But I look for Christopher Bell to be the favorite to get it done this year at the Chili Bowl. Up next, we're talking about Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs will drive the number 81 machine. Ty Gibbs is going to be a rookie this year, but he's got a lot of talent. We know he won the Rookie of the Year for Cup in 2023, and Ty Gibbs coming back and doing some dirt racing has honestly been really cool to see as he's been expanding his horizons and going and doing something a little bit different. I don't think Ty Gibbs will get as far as like Kyle Busch will get as a rookie. I think that battle between Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs for who's going to be the best rookie of those two is certainly going to be interesting, but I think Ty will definitely be pretty competitive and show some flair this year and show some promise at this year's Chili Bowl Nationals. Up next, we're talking about Jerry Coons Jr. Jerry Coons Jr. will drive the number 85 machine. Now, Jerry Coons Jr. has been competing in USAC and has been competing in motorsports for a very, very long time. The 52-year-old driver who will turn 52 or 53 this year has been in the Chili Bowl A-main multiple different times. Back in 2010, I believe, finished in 4th place. Has won, I believe, some World of Outlaws races as well. And has also won some USAC championships as well. We'll see what he can do in 2025. Up next, we're talking about Dason Percy. Dason Percy will drive the number 86 machine. Now, Dason Percy, I think, has been known for some bad crashes, unfortunately, but has also been known for some success as well on the track. Realistically, I don't see Dason Percy going out there being a major threat in serious contender to go out and win the Chili Bowl this year, but we'll see what he can do in that number 86 machine with whatever organization he does end up doing with the 86 team in 2025. Up next, we're talking about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will drive the number 86X machine as he returns to the Chili Bowl once again. I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be one that could get up to the D or C main this year. We know he's a really good dirt racer, but I don't expect Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to go out there and compete for the overall win. Could he be a sleeper to get all the way to the A main? Definitely, for sure. There's no denying that. I just don't see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting all the way to the A main like I see Bell and, of course, some other guys that are running this event this year. Up next, we're talking about Ryan Bernell. Ryan Bernell will drive the 87W machine. Ryan Bernell, I think, could be a sleeper pick this year. I do think he's got a really good opportunity here to be competitive. I think he will be a sleeper to get into the A main this year, but I think he'll definitely be one to keep your eyes out on definitely in this year's Chili Bowl. We'll see if he can be very competitive, and we'll see if he can be very, very fast in the 2025 Chili Bowl Nationals. We'll see what speed he can bring definitely in 2025 at this year's Chili Bowl. Up next, we're talking about Tanner Thorson. Tanner Thorson will drive the number 88 machine. Tanner Thorson is made the A main multiple different times. In fact, he actually won the Chili Bowl, I believe, back in 2020. I did a video on the channel, of course, a couple years ago on that. And Tanner Thorson's been super competitive. He was a former NASCAR development driver, drove for Young's Motorsports, and kind of put full focus on USAC, and has had quite a bit of success over the years. I think he's got a really good opportunity here to make the A main. I think he will take it this year to Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell as one of the guys to watch out for in this year's Chili Bowl Nationals. And finally, the last big entry that's been confirmed is Chris Windom. Chris Windom will drive an 89X machine for Chad Boats Industries. He's won multiple USAC championships over the years. He, of course, at one point was a development driver in Indy Lights and was on the track to go to IndyCar at one point, but that never really worked out. As also has made a NASCAR Cup start back in 2021 at the Food City Dirt Race at Bristol. I would think that he is going to be someone that can definitely keep your eyes out on for sure to get to the A main. He's made it many, many different times. I look for Chris Windom to definitely have a chance to make it this year in 2025. So those are all the confirmed entries for the Chili Bowl. Who are some names you haven't noticed? Well, Thomas Mesereau has not confirmed, I believe, his entry at this point. I could be wrong. I think he's running the Chili Bowl. Justin Grant, who's ran the Chili Bowl for many years, I expect him to be announced to run the Chili Bowl at some point. There was talk about Connor Zilic and Shane Van Gisbergen run the Chili Bowl this year, but they're obviously, of course, running the Rolex 24, and the Roar will be going on when the Chili Bowl happens. And there could be other drivers down the road that I did not mention. Unfortunately, Jade Avedissian is not going to be running this year. I think she got a concussion, unfortunately, so she's not racing in it. And Rico Bruce, another big name that you probably noticed was not in this year's Chili Bowl Nationals for 2025. So, that is the early deep dive look into the 2025 Chili Bowl Nationals entry list. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's get some more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. Who's your early pick to win the 2025 Chili Bowl? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. There will be a Formula 1 driver lineup video dropping later this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. There's been a lot of news over the last few days. And then, of course, on Tuesday we'll probably be doing some other stuff. We might be doing an early look at the Xfinity lineup, perhaps. And there'll be some other content dropping. We'll have content on people like Haley Deegan, Connor Zilic, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Bubba Walls. Shane Van Gisbergen, obviously, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Sam Mayer, Chandler Smith, Sheldon Creed, who's competing in the Tulsa Shootout, Sam Mayer, Connor Zilic, 2311 Racing, Junior Motorsports, all the good stuff we'll be talking about on the channel as we get closer to the start of the Cup season. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR and Chili Bowl content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.